Hi, Coach Ross here. I was going to give you a little information on how we program off-season versus in-season athletes. We've got a couple of different scenarios here. We're at the end of summer. A lot of my rugby players are going to be leaving, going off to their own hometowns. Their championships are coming up here in about 3 weeks. I have football players that are about to start their in-season training here, usually at the beginning of August. And I have a lot of fighters that are always in-season, off-season scenario. So I'm going to give you some examples of the right way to program stuff and the wrong way to program stuff, and what typically happens and what I'd ideally like to happen. So up here with team sports, this is a football example. You can substitute anything you want to, any sport there is. You got off-season, in-season. Ideally, off-season would be, in a football situation, be from December to August. In that time period, you're going to be eating more food, you're going to have more recovery time, you're less running at practice, you're more volume lifting. You're going to get strong from that point to August, make some really good strength and power gains, take advantage of that situation. When season comes along, you're not going to be able to lift as much, okay? You're going to be practicing more for your sport. You're going to be beat up some from injuries and contact or what have you. You're going to have less recovery. A lot of times school starts back too, so you got a lot of things going on, but they're still lifting. All right, and the way we do this, would like to, is to still lift a couple of days a week, but just have less volume, meaning less sets, less reps, but still go heavy weight. That way you maintain your strength. You don't lose everything over the season. So season comes along at the end of December. You've made a gradual increase here. You don't rise in your progress quite as much as in season as you do in the off season. You pick up where you left off in December, and then you make that big slope there to make your gains in the off season. This is year 2 coming on. Say you're a sophomore, year 2 in season, your gains aren't quite as good, but you still don't lose everything. December comes along, ready for another off season. You're continuing the climb. So you're up here by the end of your second and third year. You're here at the beginning. You got a gradual slope up, okay? What happens is, a lot of times, and especially around here I find, is a lot of team sport athletes, they quit lifting altogether. Their coaches don't make them do it. They don't know how to program correctly. They say, I don't have time. They got too much homework. The parents don't want them trying to juggle too much. So what happens is you have an off season that's still good, like we're doing, and then the in season comes along. They don't lift enough, they lose their strength, they lose their speed, they lose their power, their injury potential goes up. As they lose that, they don't recover as well. So they dip down over the course of the season. Then when off season comes again, it takes them many, many months to get back to where they were at the beginning of in season. So you end up making your gains again, and in season 2 comes along, you lose them again. I've had some players lose like 20 pounds over a season because they weren't coming in here and lifting, and the coaches at school weren't doing it correctly and having them lift 1 day a week, which is basically enough to get sore, not enough to make any progress, okay? End of season 2, or in season 2, they dip again, and then they take many months to get back to where they were, maybe make a little bit of gain. So over a course of 2 or 3 years, you go from here to here instead of that gradual rise up here, okay? And they don't get a whole lot better between their freshman or sophomore years and their senior years because they're doing that dipping like that, okay? That's typical of a in-season sport, whether it be rugby, basketball, whatever. So that's the importance of trying to lift and maintain what you got during the season. Typically 2 days a week, heavy weight, less reps, sets of 3, sets of 5, that kind of thing, okay? Okay, so here's the situation with the individual sports. I have a lot of fighters. Here's what I'm finding is going on a lot of times, okay? Ideal situation, no fight scheduled. You're having less conditioning or less emphasis on conditioning. You're getting more food in you. You're getting better recovery, better sleep, slightly less fight training than you would if you had a fight coming up. So you can make some tremendous progress in the weight room from point A to point B. Their season, you don't know when they're going to fight. So they're up and down. You might have a longer off season. Take advantage of that window. You got a fight scheduled, say it's 6 weeks, and you got a fight coming up, okay? You're going to still maintain your lifting, doing a in-season program like we talked about up here. You're going to make some gains. You want to maintain the gains that you made in the off season. Maintain your strength, maintain your power. You're doing more conditioning at the fight place, MMA place, typically Westside MMA place. Check it out, best place in the state. You're cutting weight, which is going to make it real hard to recover from these workouts. You're doing more training over there, and you got more chance of injury when you're underfed and you're all of a sudden doubling the amount of training that you're doing. So that's the individual ideal situation. So you're still lifting, but you're cutting back a little bit on your lifting and the amount of volume. You may go to a 2-day program instead of a 3-day program, do slightly less sets, more weights, that kind of thing. After that, you know fight scheduled, you can make those gains again like you were over on this off season here. Fight camp comes along, so at the end of 2 or 3 years, you're still making some big progress. You aren't hang cleaning the same weight after 2 years as what you were 2 years before, and your vertical jump has improved. Your speed and quickness has improved, and your overall strength has improved, okay? But that's the ideal situation. Here's what I'm finding happening a lot of times. You don't have a fight scheduled, or after a fight, you take too much time off. You're not motivated to lift since you don't have a fight schedule, okay? You let your weight get up, which is okay as long as you have it in check, okay? And then you get a fight camp come up, and all of a sudden you're gung-ho. You're saying, I'm going to start lifting again, I'm going to start training again, I'm going to start doing my conditioning. But the problem is when you do that, you're also juggling more training, less food, everything else. So your gains are going to be less here. And then you take off too long after a fight, you dip down. So over the course of a year or two, you end up kind of plateauing and make a little bit of gains, but not as good as what you actually could if you're following a good program, okay? And the key to all this, and the goal here at Raw Strength and Speed, is for long-term athletic development, okay? That you're better from year 1 to year 3, that you continue to get better with your strength and your size, your body composition, your power, your explosiveness. All those things continue to get better and better instead of those dips and valleys. So if you have any questions, come check us out here at Raw Strength and Speed. Be glad to help you.